Welcome back to the Junkie Sports Podcast today. So we have a very, very special episode for you guys today. We're going to do something a little bit different. So we are going to interview Harrison Hunt. So Harrison is a friend of ours, and he has gotten into the sports card industries. And so we're going to learn a little bit from him today and how he operates in and out of that and that sort of thing. So without further ado, Harrison, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Give us a little overview of the sports card industry, how you got into it. Give us a little background info about you.
Yes, well, thank you all for having me on the show. As David said, my name's Harrison. So sports cards. Let's see, where to begin. I've been collecting cards since I was in about fourth grade is when I kind of started getting into it, and I got started with football cards because at that time football was my favorite sport. I didn't really know a whole lot about the card market, but it was actually an uncle of mine who kind of got me started. He bought me some boxes and packs and stuff for Christmas, birthday, and that kind of stuff. Back then, I never knew like I would get into it as much as I am now. But when I got into it, I mean, there's a lot more to it, and it's a lot cooler than meets the eye. So just like a general overview of the modern sports card market. So back in we're talking 60s, 70s, 80s, the 1900s. Basically, cards were just cards. It would just be just a picture card of a player. There would typically be just one main set. For if we're talking baseball has the pretty much the biggest vintage following. So anything like pre 1970 or so. It was there was just one singular baseball set. It was just the Topps baseball set, and there'd be 600 picture cards in the set of league players, and that's all there was to it. It was just cards with the guy's picture on it, and you'd go for the whole set. That was kind of what it was like. But when you start getting into the turn of the century, that's when it got a little more complex. So nowadays, the basic just picture of a guy on a card aren't always the most valuable things. There are a lot of new cooler things in the market. For example, I have right here, this is an autograph card, which actually gets kind of cut off by, I'll have to hold it like in front
There
of
we
me.
go.
But this
What
is
player
a
is that?
Porter Jr. Autograph patch card. So what that means is Michael Porter Jr. at one point held this card and autographed it, which is super cool. I can talk about, so basically there are three main card manufacturers in the game today, and they all have exclusive licenses. So for NBA cards, Panini is the exclusive producer of NBA trading cards, meaning that they are the only maker that can put a player with their team and team name. There are unlicensed products that are allowed to use the players, but they do not have any rights to the team names or logos or anything. So Panini is the exclusive maker for NBA. Topps is the exclusive maker for Major League Baseball. Panini also does the NFL, and then Upper Deck does hockey, NHL. So back to this Porter card. So it has an autograph on there, authentic autograph, has an authentication on the back, and also a term that will get thrown around is either patch or jersey relic, which basically they will take a jersey that Michael Porter Jr. wore at some point, and they will cut it up and put it in a card, which is pretty cool. Although one thing I will explain, there's like a lot of confusion. So this is a rookie card of Michael Porter Jr. So from his rookie year, obviously I know you're thinking, so if it's from his rookie year, like how did they get a Nuggets jersey in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of the time, um, especially for if you have like a rookie with like patches in there, it's typically from a jersey that Porter wore at a photo shoot or event of some kind of like some magnitude like that, not a game.
Or like NBA Media Day, something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
there's something like that, which is unfortunate, but that's typically only on like rookie cards. Obviously,
Do they have rookie cards with game worn
yeah,
jersey relics as well?
yeah, those will typically come out um, in later uh, release products in the season. So when
Okay.
that rookie will have played in games, they will likely be able to get game worn material in there, and they actually specify that in like the little authentication blurb on the back. So this one just says enclosed player worn, which means it was on him at some point. But if they are game worn, it will specify that. And there are even some, I know Topps does it a lot in baseball. They'll have like a little one of those hollow MLB authentication stickers, and they'll stick it on there, and then you can actually like look up and see what game it was worn. And
Oh wow.
yeah, something kind of cool. So yeah, so obviously there's a lot more to it. Back in the day, you didn't have like you weren't able to pull autograph or jersey cards or anything. And another thing I want to get into, this card is also serial numbered. So what that means, this one is number 18 of 75. And when you see that, that indicates it's kind of like if you ever see like paintings or prints or anything like that, they'll have like a little number slash another number in the corner or whatever. And that's basically stating what the print run. So of this exact Michael Porter card, there are only 75 in existence. And I have number 18 of 75. Numbering is kind of what that kind of came probably like mid to late 90s, and is especially important today. The 90s, 80s, late 80s and 90s had really big issues with overproduction. So that's why, people always come to me with their dads or whoever's cards from the late 80s and 90s and say like, oh, look at all these are awesome. They'll have, don't get me wrong. So it's not that the players in the 80s and 90s were bad or anything like that.
The cards weren't as valuable
no,
as they are today. Yeah.
all about
That definitely
supply and
makes
demand,
sense.
and they were printing them. They was like literally printing money, millions upon millions of like Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, things of that. So with that many out there, it won't be as valuable. So those companies learned their lesson, and today they make serial numbered cards that have a finite print run, and which in turn makes them more desirable and scarce, which is really good for the market.
Okay.
So out of those three like unique features that cards have, between like the jersey patch, the autographs, and the serial numbers, is there one that kind of stands out above the rest that can kind of really drive up the price of some of the cards, or is it kind of just a mixture of everything? And kind of how do you determine the value of a card?
Yeah. So I'll kind of keep this, basketball focused. So the basketball market is kind of absurd. It's definitely the most volatile and sporadic of I focus on the three sports: football, basketball, and baseball. Basketball is definitely the most chaotic market for sure. In basketball, so let's talk. So I said Panini was like the sole manufacturer of basketball cards. Now they make a ton of different sets of basketball cards. So they make a set called Prism. They make a set called Optic. They make a set called Hoops. They make a set called Flawless. Like, they make a ton of different sets, and there are some of those sets that are very desirable compared to others. And in the basketball market, without a doubt, Prism is like the number one most desired card to have of any player. And so the thing is with Prism is the kind of typical, just like, chromed out, shiny, futuristic looking type set, and very desirable. Basically, of the current stars, the Prism rookie card is kind of like the card to have. Yeah. And then obviously, so Prism isn't a very autograph focused product, and no relics either. So it's mainly you're focused on getting those rookie cards, but then like the really big draw to Prism is getting a numbered rookie card. So for example, I'll grab some things real fast.
You said this is the holy grail of what you want in a card. Let me grab a few to show you guys.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I've got several in the stockpile to show you guys.
For example, so I have right here, this is a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Prism rookie card. Without a doubt, like this is like his most popular card for sure. Not necessarily his most valuable, but 100% his most popular card, most like desired. If you wanted to go like buy some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this is probably what you're looking for. So this one is just the base rookie card. This is just a common rookie card, part of the base set. Back in the day when you could actually like buy packs of this stuff, like they were on the shelf at Target and Walmart, and you wouldn't have to pay, outrageous, through eBay or third party or whatever. This would be like a common card. You get a couple base cards in a pack type thing. Not a super rare card. But with that being said, I mean, these run probably about $40 right now, raw. So, I mean, for a base card, that's awesome. But the real draw to Prism is you want to get, not necessarily, if you have the money, you want to go for the numbered Prism. So right here, I have a Dante DiVincenzo. This Prism is different from the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can kind of see it has a red border, which means it's the red Prism. And on the back, it's numbered to 299. So there are only 299 copies of these. And the, like the numbered Prism color variations. So when I say color variations, like the border is a different color. And that's how you know that, all right, this one's going to be numbered on the back, and you'll see the serial number. But the numbered variations are very, very sought after. I know Luka won Zion's like thousands upon thousands of dollars. Supply and demand, when you have finite number of them out there, I mean, it can be very desirable. Another thing you might have noticed with this DiVincenzo card, like, what is this case it's in? And very fair point. That'll get me into my next.
For our audio listeners, it's a very nice plastic case.
It is a very nice plastic.
Hard
case.
plastic, yeah.
Hard plastic.
Nice.
It's the same type of plastic they use to protect the Declaration of Independence.
That is confirmed. We can actually 100% confirm that with the fact checker.
But at the top of that case, though, there is some writing on a label. And what does that mean? What is that all about? And that is card grading, which is one of the kind of newer, concepts in card collecting that has really like exploded here in the last couple of years. So basically, let's use this card for example. This is a Giannis Hoops PSA 10 rookie. So let's take a card like this Giannis Hoops. picture it not in the case, just like a raw card, just chilling on your desk or whatever. Now that is just a base rookie card. There are thousands of them out there, and fairly mass produced, fairly attainable, blah blah blah. So what you can do, you can get that Giannis graded. Now grading, there's some similarities in some other industries. Like I know if anyone is familiar with coins, you can send a coin like a Walking Liberty or Golden Eagle, whatever, like really desirable coins. You can send them in to a professional service, and they get graded on their condition, and therefore if you have a nicer condition one, it's worth more money, which is basically that's what you do with cards. So basically I looked over this Giannis here and said, yeah, it's in very nice condition. And then you can send it off to grading, so there are two main places that I would look for if you want to grade stuff, which would be PSA and Beckett. I'm more of a PSA guy. Beckett's a little more expensive and takes longer. PSA does take a very long time right now. They are like very swamped with orders and stuff, but I'm just more of a PSA guy. It's just personal preference. But basically, I pay to send a raw. So that term raw means, in general, just means an ungraded card. So I send in a raw Giannis Hoops rookie to PSA, and they will grade it on a scale of 1 to 10 based on how good of condition it is. So this Giannis ended up getting a 10, which each number has a little like term associated with it. So a 10 is considered to be a gem mint card. A 9 is considered a mint card. An 8 is considered like a near mint card or whatever. So this Giannis got a gem mint 10. So what that means though, so you take a raw Giannis Hoops where there are on thousands of them. But now you look at it and say, well, how many of those thousands upon thousands of Giannis Hoops rookies are graded a PSA 10?
Yeah.
That is drastically reduced. So therefore, you just created, you basically made your card scarcer, more desirable.
So they don't, like these grading companies like PSA and Beckett, they don't necessarily give you an estimate on how much this type of card would go for in the general market. That's up to you as the card trader and collector to be setting. The main service that they provide is giving it a certified grading of 1 through 10 and making it official in that sense.
Yeah. So, okay. PSA, they do something a little different. So PSA, they do actually take into account a little bit what these cards go for on the secondary market. So if you take a step back, the card market, there is no place or anything that says how much a card should or should not be worth. That's one of the most fascinating things. Anything in this market is worth what somebody will pay for it. There's nobody telling anybody that, hey, this card is worth this amount of money. It's just what people will pay for them. And then once somebody pays something for a card, then that kind of sets the market and say, oh, well, okay. I mean, it's sold for this. So that means, yeah, it's worth this. And actually what PSA will do, so to give you an estimate of pricing and stuff. So this Giannis card, I actually pulled it back in the day. We're talking in 2016 or something. He was a rookie in 13. I was opening some old packs, something like that. So I pulled this back in the day out of a pack that cost me, I believe, $15. So basically, wow. I had $15 into it. Cool. I kept it for a while. I just had it. And then eventually I got around to looking at it. So I can also go quickly into like, how do you know if a card will get a good grade? Basically, Beckett PSA, they'll grade on 4 main categories. Um, one of them being corners, which is one of the most important ones. So that's obviously like the corners on a card, if they're like bent, dinged, kind of cramped, anything like that, will kind of dock your points there on corners. They also look at surface. So if like the surface of the card has scratches on it or like dimples, print lines, anything like that. Edges. So like that's the sides of the cards. Do they have any nicks or like, kind of bumps or anything? And then the bigger one that is really out of anybody's control is centering. So you see how this Giannis card, it has, a white border going around it.
Yeah.
They basically grade how even that border is around it. So that's obviously out of your control. That's just how it was cut in the factory. So nothing you can really do there. But okay, anyway, back to this card. So it looked nice, and I send it to PSA. Now, PSA, they do their research on what cards go for in the secondary market. Now, when I sent this card in, I sent it in this past summer, which was like, I sent it like basically right when the bubble started, which that's when like the market was like insanely hot, like on fire. Giannis was playing really well, all that. So I sent that in at that time. These in a PSA 10 were going for about $1,200 or so. So PSA will take note of that. And basically, when you're going to submit a card at PSA, they have different tiers of service levels, they're called service levels. So basically, their lowest service level is called like bulk or something, and it costs about $20 to get a card graded. But with that, they say, hey, only cards with a maximum value of, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but you can only send cards with a maximum value of blah in bulk. So then this Giannis, being a more expensive card at the time, I had to pay more to get it graded because, frankly, PSA, that's just what they do, and they can. So, I mean, it makes perfectly sense that, well, if you have a more expensive card to get graded, like you can't just, I'll just throw it in the bulk and, turn my $20 into over $1,000. So I put this was in, I believe it's called the standard standard service level, and it cost, I think, about $55 at the time for that. So yeah, I sent that $55. It took about a month to get back, and came back PSA 10. Obviously, since then, this card is not worth $1,200 right now, sitting more like $900 range. But I don't know. It'll be probably
it's a casual $900 range.
Yeah, that's a good flip for your $15
just
box.
Kind of just kind of a hold until, I don't know, he can get a chip or go somewhere that he can
if he gets a chip. I guess that's a conversation for another day.
That's a different conversation. But so grading is probably one of the biggest ways where you can kind of just like generate money out of basically, like, I don't want to say nowhere, but like you can kind of, it's a great way to create value for cards that you already have. I don't know.
All right, with that was a great, I'd say overall,
in-depth look into it.
Yeah, definitely. And so with that, we're going to go into our first break. And then after that, we'll get into some more of the nuances and kind of how some of the complexity goes into it. But stick around, keep watching. See you guys soon.